a video, folks, with Angel Reese. Again, just to show you that there's still a lot of hatred against Angel Reese. Now she's not playing, and there's playoff games. During the playoffs now, WNBA. This is from TYT Sports. This is from Big Rick. His name is Big Rick. Big Rick Energy. YouTube channel, TYT. I know TYT is terrible, but this channel's, all the channels in that, they're great, except for the main channel. That's the thing. If we took away the main channel, I mean, it would still be a great media network. But this is about Angel Reese and how much hate she gets. This is amazing. And it's proved that this is mostly, the hatred is just a lot of it's just racism. Plain and simple, anti-black racism. And just hatred. And these people, see all these so-called followers, new followers or whatever, they're in WNBA, they're not really fans of the NBA, WNBA, or women's sports. We're gonna make another one with ESPN. But she made a post that she made a comment about Caitlin Clark, and yeah, she's helped defend, and she's not blaming Caitlin Clark. She's saying some of her fans, even that, when she explains that, they're taken out of context and she's being hated on. And she says she's still causing division. They just hate this girl. I mean, I think they just hate, most of this is racism. And some of it's just especially these black content, some of it's just these black content creators also. They're doing this just to get likes, clicks, money's involved. They can pay to do this. Just dunk on black people, black women. And the commissioner doesn't help out either. She doesn't defend her own the players in the league. They're being threatened, death threats. She's getting death threats, Angel Reese. And the commissioner doesn't care much. And let this guy explain this. NJ Rick explains this.
It's just because I just try to ignore, and I just try to stand strong. Like, I've been through so much. I've seen so much. I've been attacked so many times. Death threats. I've been sexualized. I've been threatened. I've been so many things, and I've stood strong.
And Caitlin Clark.
I have this amazing platform, so I think the biggest thing would be just encourage people to register to vote. I think for myself, that's the second time I can vote in an election. At age 22, I could vote when I was 18, so I think
by the way,
that's the biggest thing I can do with the
Oh
platform.
wait, she's getting hate now from the somewhere. She's getting hate because she's gonna vote for Kamala Harris, and now she's getting hate. And these people are they're hating on her. They're not gonna follow her her fans are not gonna follow her. Fans are not gonna follow her anymore because of that. No, she's getting hate.
And that's the same thing Tara did.
Has shown the rivalry has simply carried over from college. Recall though when this happened.
This was, I don't think you know about this, but this was just posted online by a woman you might have heard of whose name is Taylor Swift. And she has posted this online along with a photo of her cat. And I'm going to read to you what she just posted. Like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now is a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances these candidates take on the topics that matter to you the most. As a voter, I make sure to watch and read everything I can about their proposed policies and plans for this country. Recently, I was made aware that AI of me, quote me, falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run was posted to his site. It really conjured up my fears around AI and the dangers of spreading misinformation. It brought me to the conclusion that I need to be very transparent about my actual plans for this election as a voter. The simplest way to combat misinformation is with the truth. Then she says, quote, I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights.
I'm here to sell you something.
In a way that we
No, you're not here to sell me anyway. Nope.
And causes I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she is a steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we're led by calm and not chaos. I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of running mate Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ plus rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. I've done my research and I've made my choice. Your research is all yours to do, and the choice is yours to make. I also want to say, especially to first-time voters, remember that in order to vote, you have to be registered. I also find it's much easier to vote early. I will link where to register and find early voting dates and info in my story. With love and hope, Taylor Swift, signed Childless Cat Lady.
We would learn a lot in the wake of this news. Recently, though, Angel Reese commented on a TikTok post from user The Luncheon Lawyer. Here that is.
Oh, I am all in white people's business this week. Like, first Taylor Swift, now Caitlin Clark. So, Caitlin Clark, like, the Taylor Swift.
This is just kind of Looney Tune here. She, but she said she's right though.
Post, you know, the Taylor Swift post, and baby, all of a sudden, all of her alleged fans are withdrawing support. Like, they wanted her to be the face of racism so bad. Whole time, she just wanted.
Exactly, like I was saying. Like they want her to. She endorsed the president, and I mean the next president. Or may not be I shouldn't say next president. She endorsed the Democratic candidate, so now they're not. The fans are leaving her. Caitlin Clark fans.
To play basketball, get her sponsorships, and go home. Like, turns out she doesn't want to be the brand ambassador for hatred, and this really confirms.
I like that brand ambassador for hatred. I love that. Yep, it is for hatred. The hatred party. That's what we call the Republicans. White supremacist party. Or the hatred party. It's not the white. Okay, the hatred party. The hate party.
Never Caitlyn fans, you were just Angel Reese haters. Let me say it again. You were never a Caitlyn fan. You were an Angel Reese hater. You didn't care about Caitlin Clark's skills. Mm-mm.
Exactly.
Mm-mm.
Exactly. They didn't care about her at all. They don't really care about. They hate women's sports, because I seen it before Caitlin Clark came into the NBA, the WNBA. I seen all these videos of seeing how the WNBA is so bad, and all these videos, and they're like, but somebody's they're mocking the women, and somebody's like they don't really watch women's sports anyways. I mean. These dudes online, they don't really watch the women's sports. It's when they're talking about how they should get paid. The WNBA players are saying they should get more money. Understand that they should get a little bit. They get paid. They should get more money. But the argument is like they shouldn't be getting. They want. Some would say they want equal pay, but I don't think they're saying. They want equal pay somewhere there. That's wrong. The main thing they want a decent amount of money. I mean a decent amount. I mean, that's what they're asking for. Not like not like they're gonna get like max contracts and such. I don't think they're asking for that. Just at least $1 million, like. The base salary is what? I don't know if it's a million. I think it's 50. It was 50,000 or something. So at least $1 million. Let me say like 1 million, 2 million base salary, or even 1 million. I should look that up. I think because I heard it was like in the 50 to 100,000. base salary. Or even not even that high. They're asking for that pay, at least something. But these people online, they're just dunking on the women's basketball, and women. They hate women's sports in general. They don't like women's sports. And just like these so-called Caitlin Clark fans, they don't like women's sport. And they're anti-black also. I mean, just the way to dunk on the women's sport. Just the way to dunk on the woman, the black woman of the NBA in general. Even the women, actually, they were there before Caitlin Clark. It's just the way to dunk on them. It's not the avenue to just spew hate on them. Anyways.
Like the fact that she was a white woman performing exceptionally well in a sport dominated by black women.
See
so
that?
Instead of appreciating Caitlyn
That's great. That's the point there. There's another point there. That's a great point.
for being an incredible, talented player,
Exactly.
it's all about being anti-Angel Reese. That's not weird to y'all? Y'all think that's weird?
Yep. That is weird. It's not weird. It's not. Shouldn't be surprising though in America. Not surprising. So much like anti-black racism. Still, like a lot exists there, folks. Misogyny. It's misogyny also, but mostly this anti-black racism. So maybe it shouldn't be a surprise.
Anyway, I know Caitlyn wanted to tell y'all in her comment section that it's not an airport. You don't need to announce your departure, but you know, she kept it cute as a sponsored, well-paid, talented WNBA.
Where Reese comes into the story is this. Via Marca, "You left no crumbs," she wrote, indicating her agreement with the video's perspective. This response has provoked a strong backlash, with critics accusing Reese of promoting divisive and harmful rhetoric. No. And whoever the writer is should be ashamed
My
of
God,
this.
this is what them talk. This is what they say now. She's spewing more division. I mean, just because she commented on this, she's saying some of her fans are Caitlin Clark's fans are extreme. Only some. And she's spewing division. Like you call out racism. Same. That's the same old. That's what some white people do. That's what they do. They call out when you call out racism, they call you a racist. Or you're race baiting. You're race baiting. But they do this. They race bait too. They race bait every day. There's a news channel that Fox News. Every day they race bait. And Newsmax, the media. They're watching the football game. What happened? Okay, I'm watching the football game while I'm doing this too. They're race baiting. When the Cardinals score, they blow the whistle. But they race bait every day. They accuse you of race baiting if you call out racism. That's the thing now. They call out the racism. And you say you're the racist. And you're the anti. So it's like reverse racism. They saying you're the racist. That's what they're doing.
This is operating in bad faith. The usual suspects were at it, like Clay Travis's outkick.
Clay's such a fraud. He literally told me back in like 2015, he's like, there's no market out there right now for right-wing sports. He's like, so I'm going to just start like becoming a right-wing sports person. He told me what he was going to do.
My question to you guys, where have all y'all been? Seriously. Angel Reese has touched on this on her podcast. We have seen how many other WNBA players responded when Kathy Engelbert was asked a question about revenue. And she was asked a question about how there is racist, xenophobic, misogynistic, anti-gay rhetoric when it comes to the rivalry between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. How do you plan on protecting?
Anti-black, actually, more. Anti-gay, yeah, because anti-black, actually. Anti-black, it's mostly anti-black racism. I don't think it's anti-gay. It's gay, but I think it's mostly anti-black. I mean, come on. But he doesn't want to go into like racial. See, even the TYT, he doesn't want to go into anti. He doesn't want to go to the be like, well, at least see they're against identity politics, so called. I mean, if you call out racism, then you go into the anti. You go into anti. You go into identity politics. I should say, not anti. Identity politics. So he's not going to say race. I think it's mostly race. Not gay. Well, it's some anti LTBG, whatever. It's mostly race. Maybe I was the one to say race. I guess now the TYT is more. They see they don't want to use race anymore. Except for Dr. Ritchie, he's allowed him to do that, I guess. But I know he's not. So he can't say race. It's anti-black racism. But it's anti-gay or whatever. Okay, it's both, but hey.
Protecting them and other athletes within your sport. And she was the one who said, well, revenue has never been higher. Rivalries make sports. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson laid the groundwork for this to happen. Our athletes.
Yeah, but I don't think Larry Bird, Magic Johnson got death threats. Or maybe, I don't think so. It was only like, it wasn't this extreme. I mean, people getting death threats, players getting death threats. That's too. I mean, see, don't know what I'm talking about. The commissioner doesn't care about her players.
They're getting brand deals, sponsorship deals. We're selling out arenas, and she kept going to revenue, and that is when many WNBA athletes said, "Hey, enough. You were asked about our players being mistreated, and all you could talk about is dollars and cents." That's a preposterous way of thinking about this. Previously, in case writers like the ones at Marca have not been paying attention, Reese voiced that she does not believe Clark has any hatred towards her, nor does she have hatred for Clark. She did, though, acknowledge feeling a lack of respect by some of Clark's supporters. Sometimes it's very disrespectful, Reese said. I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to it, and I don't believe she stands on any of that. So, in case we're lacking media literacy here, she is saying she has no animosity towards Caitlin Clark. Let's dispel that.
Exactly. And she's still getting hated on, so.
Because I continue seeing this circulated on Musk's free speech platform. She then says she doesn't believe that Caitlin Clark endorses any of this, which, by the way, Clark made clear, quote, everybody in our world deserves the same amount of respect. The women in our league deserve the same amount of respect. So people should not be using my name to push those agendas. So she made it clear. And thus, when she favorited or liked the Taylor Swift Instagram post, her Instagram comments were filled with hate from MAGA, which showed a lot. Thus, it led to this video. So if we are covering all of our bases here by saying we know that Caitlin Clark is not a bigot, she doesn't endorse bigotry, it's the biggest issue is that some that were just coming into being basketball fans saw an opportunity to anoint a white knight.
Yep, this
and
is
they
the
thought that she was gay.
Great White Hope. Not just here, but now in all sports. They downplay they hype up the white athlete. I mean, there's a lot of examples of this. Bird is one. Oh, he's a great player. Brady is another one. He's a great player, though. But they even call him the greatest football player of all time. No, he's not. Maybe the quarterback. They hype him up. Brady. Larry Bird. They're great players, but they're hyped up. more than they should be. Although they're they're Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer. So two Hall of Famers, but they really hyped up to #1 status. I mean, call him the GOAT. Maybe the GOAT quarterback, yeah, but I think they one timer now they're now anointing them the greatest. And then the other way, the black athletes are downplayed, like in tennis, Serena Williams. I mean, death threats on them too. Venus Williams call all kinds of things. They call her. They're not the people saying they're not female. This bullshit's going on. Like they're trans. See, they dominate the game, so they hate that. They can't dominate the game. I guess because they're black. And into the white sport, so they dominate the game. And then Tiger Woods, he's been downplayed. They're calling him the GOAT probably, but a lot of years they hated on him. They say this and that, racist remark. He got death threats. I mean, so in the media downplay him, the golf media, the gatekeepers of the sport, the reporters of that sport. I won't say the general media, but the gatekeepers of the golf and the tennis, they downplay it, type down the rhetoric. Tiger Woods, want to give him not giving him compliment as he should be. They finally are. Only after the fact, now he's done his thing. Saying he has to earn it, but he has earned it, even though he's dominating the sport. They actually dominating the sport. He's still hating on him, downplaying his accomplishment. Just like Serena, all kinds of conspiracy theories that her and her sister, like they did this. They fixed the match. They were fixed matches or something. So they're downplaying what they do. And then the opposite with Caitlin Clark, she not even played that much. She's having trouble, but they're like overhyping her instead of let her play the damn game. Now she's doing great. Let her play the game first and see what she's a good athlete tonight. She's good. They call her the GOAT before she even started playing the pro, like in the league, and so they're downplaying her. They're downplaying the black athletes. Then they see that they have to accomplish how great they are. So they give them the compliment after the fact. So it take many years for them to realize that, oh, she's a great player. Like Serena's a great player. I mean, after so much Grand Slam, even still, some won't call her the GOAT. Even though they call her the what's her name, the GOAT, Margaret Court, and that's a different era. It's a different era. That's another time. So you could call her the GOAT. You could call Serena the GOAT. I'm going on a rant, but I'm trying to explain how the media, what he's saying, the white hope. And this is why there's a lot of this happens all the time. It's not just this thing. But tennis, they grant her. They won't tell her. They won't say that she just won match. She has less. She tied. No, she has one less Grand Slam, one match. Grand Slam matches. She has one less than. She has 22 or 23. Court has 23 and Thing has 20. Serena's 22. I think Joker tied her. So she has a most match. So Joker, she tied her, and but it's a great accomplishment by Margaret Court, but that's a different time and era. Like most people, there's only like a few countries that played. Not like now. It's more. Now it's more of a competition. There's like a few countries that really did play tennis back then. Like we're talking about the early 70s, the 60s, and early 70s. She was totally different then. I mean, so she's the greatest player of all time. Come on. I mean, it's like saying, what's his name? Like, it's like saying Chamberlain's better than Jordan. I mean, that's what it's like. He has the most championships. You could argue that he has most championships, but still, the way he dominated the game, and this is a different era. Like more people play the game in Jordan era. And like, Phil Russell, he's the greatest. See, he has the most championships, but nobody calls him the GOAT. He has 11 championships, but nobody calls him the GOAT. So why is it different? You see, why they can't call Sweeney the GOAT? They call it for Jordan's the GOAT, and he doesn't have the most championships. So why can't they call Serena the GOAT, even though she has one less than Margaret Court? I mean, that's what I'm saying. See, they don't call Phil Russell the GOAT. He has the most championships, but we don't call him the GOAT. They don't. Like it's a different era. You can't compare eras, but still, like it's a modern era and it's not a modern era. The game is like modernized. Like, the game's not much difference. There's not much difference in the game now. I mean, this is a comparison. Difference in the game now, the NBA than than the 70s and 80s. There's a way difference than. There's a way difference in the game from here, from the right now to the 60s, a big difference, and the 50s. So that's like, see, the modern era was more like, started like in the 70s. The game started to change. Like in the mid 70s or late 70s. That's the modern era. So you could compare it with this time. But you can't compare the 60s to now. I mean, just like tennis, you can't compare that era. I mean, to now. You can compare it to now, like tennis now. You can compare it to the 80s. You can compare it, I guess. Even the 90s, you could compare it. But but back then, they used wood rackets, so it's a different. Even back then, you wouldn't call that the modern era. So it really started in the 90s when they got better equipment, and they have different training. They lift weights. They train differently. They're bigger and stronger, faster. So you can't really see, even that is the modern era, like the 80s, 70s, and 60s. That was non-modern, not the modern. That was before the modern era. So it started in the late 80s. The modern era started. The modern era started in the late 80s for tennis. So 87, like 88, 87 or 88. So it's more of so it was less. It wasn't the modern era. It's a different era. Like it was the old era before that. So my point is, Caitlin Clark. My point is the hyping. It happens every sport. They hype up the white athlete and they downplay the black athlete. But they're great athletes. I mean, Bird is great. I mentioned Brady. They're great, and Caitlin Clark's a good player. and she will be a great player, but you have to give her time. And Angel Reese is a good player. I don't know. May not be a great player. She could be, but she's a good player. But she shouldn't be dunked on and hated on. I mean, she just want to play their game. She just want to play her game. That's it. This sends. Well, this is. I'm gonna go into a longer rant. I'm not gonna. Maybe I'll just finish this off.
Game, probably because number one, she is Caucasian, and number two, she's from Iowa. Both of those being clear, ill-informed, misguided approaches into anointing her what they thought she would be when she is not. And quite frankly, let me be clear about this. If her liking that Taylor Swift post drives out the racist fans, you know who would benefit the most? Their fellow players.
Exactly.
Their mindset.
Exactly. Get out the trash. We get out all the tears, says in the Bible says. With all the trash, get them out.
Their mental health, the product overall. Angel Reese had doctored AI nude photos of her.
That's terrible.
What do you think that would do to you if
That's crazy, folks.
that happened? She had people follow her to her house. What do you think that would do to
See, this is what I'm talking about. She's being stalked. Eventually, something's gonna happen, folks, and this. If she don't do something about this, the commissioner is gonna something real is gonna happen, and this is gonna be in trouble. Sadly, hope it doesn't happen. She do something about this before it happens. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of backlash. Despite the success of Caitlin Clark, if any of her players get hurt because of this crap. See, Caitlin Clark's not going to save the league. I mean, you have to promote their other players or somehow. Hopefully they do that. Can't just be one player. Even Jordan, it wasn't just Michael Jordan, NBA. He came in. And it wasn't just Bird and Magic. That started it, but there was other players too. After they were gone, there was another generation of players that took over. Other great players. And there has to be something. I mean, no, there has to be. It can't be just two players. And one of when they're gone, or who's left? Even golf. Listen, golf is one example. I guess Tiger Woods. See, even that's a good example. Golf. You know, Jack Nicklaus. You know, the greats. Yeah, what's his name now? Gary Player. Then Tiger took over. See, golf had a generation of greats, and they took over. But now you don't have that with golf. See? You need the players. You need not just one player. Even the Tiger era, there's Phil. He had Phil Nicholson. He had him and he had other players. VJ. I know Phil was a great player. He could he's a great player. Really, Phil and Tiger, you know about in golf. It wasn't just Tiger, it was some other player. Some people saying that was just Tiger, and it wasn't just Tiger. So he had Phil, he had some other players. VJ was okay. And what's his name? Jack was still around. But he's played mostly in the senior tour back then. You see, he played in some majors he play. Like the Masters, he would still play. I mean, Nick Faldo, I guess he had players. I'm thinking the great players. What's his name? An Australian guy. I forgot his name. But anyways, but he had players. See, right now golfers, you don't hear not much because you don't see any great players like Tiger. So you had Jack, you had like I said, Gary Player. And what's his name? Darwin Nelson, way back. So you have the players there. But now the offer's not that. So that's why you need players after. So when Tiger's still there, but he's not as dominant. So you need other players, my point. I mean, not just one player. Make the league.
You, if that were to happen. Another teammate was told that from the fan, they hope her tumor comes back. What would you do about that? And this all happened within the last few months. There is a cause and effect. So Caitlin Clark coming out and saying this, a positive. Angel Reese standing on business and saying, I don't think Caitlin Clark endorses this, but this is a problem that a lot of us are suffering from. And clearly the commissioner doesn't have their back. So it's up to the players.
Yep.
It's up to the union to have protections in place and also root out the racism. These are only big steps in the right direction. But yet, what do we hear from the Outkicks and others? What do we hear? Angel Reese endorsed racist message. No. No. That is coming.
It's terrible. It's disgusting. These people are terrible, folks.
From the corner of white fragility. If you think that was
white fragility, how about the white races? That's what I call it.
Racist message, and that upsets you, hard, long look in the mirror. The problem is, a lot of conservatives don't believe in that. They don't believe in self-preservation. They don't believe in trying to have a better understanding of the world. They have a victim complex. And the outcry from Reese leaving that comment says it all. If you can and are willing...
Yeah. That's it, folks. All right, this is a long video, but... Again, Angel Reese... Getting hated on again. This is terrible. When is it gonna stop, folks? When is it gonna stop? Maybe they want her. Maybe she should leave. Maybe they want her to leave the league. Maybe that's what they wanted to do. Drive her out of the league. Like some of these people. Who knows? I'm out, folks.